Guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry I have been away from my channel in quite a long time. I have been on a little mini vacation, so yeah. I've been on a little mini vacation. So while I was gone, I did see there has been some significant changes in regards to housing, especially Section 8. According to the Trump administration, they are proposing budget cuts for 2026. 33 billion in HUD funding possibly being cut. The Trump administration is imposing a 2-year limit on rental assistance for adults without disabilities. The budget document states that this would direct a majority of rental assistance to elderly disabled tenants. So a majority of the funding that is being received by adults on rental assistance will be directed towards elderly and disabled tenants. Proposed budget does include 25 million in housing grants for youth aging out of foster care, which is great. At least they have some housing, the foster care system. The other eliminations from HUD include about 3.3 billion community development block grant programs, which provides funds for community and economic development. There's a home investment partnership program, which provides funding to state and local governments to expand housing. They want to consolidate homeless assistance programs into one program and refocus it on short and medium-term housing assistance capped at 2 years. Pathways to removing obstacle housing and fair housing grants. That's going to be removed as part of the administration effort to end diversity, equity, inclusion programs in the federal government. HUD Secretary Scott Turner, he made a statement about the proposed budget cuts, and he said that President Trump's bold budget proposal is a reimagining of how the federal government addresses affordable housing and community development. It rightfully provides states and localities greater flexibility while thoughtfully consolidating, streamlining, and even simplifying existing programs to serve the American people at the highest standards. Another person named Anne Olivia, she's the CEO of the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Between 2023 and 2024, homelessness increased by 18%, yet this proposal would strip funding for HUD's homelessness programs by 12. That's a recipe for disaster. We just read in the proposal that they want to consolidate the homeless assistance program into one single program and cap it at 2. It's not that the programs are ending, it's they're consolidating. Consolidate means I'm going to join separate housing structured programs for homelessness into one bucket. But yet, according to Anne Olivia, she's thinking that these changes are going to be proposing the end for homelessness. Here are my thoughts. Section 8 has been a staple in, I would say, the community at large. A lot of people tend to focus, and I've seen others who've talked about this, tend to focus exclusively the Black and brown. But there are they're white, they're Asians, there are all kinds of people who live off of Section 8 programs. I'm going to broadly say that this is great news, primarily because there are generations of people who have lived on Section 8 housing. According to some studies, let me get some stats because I know that some people are going to be like, I need statistics on Section 8. So according to USA Facts, in 2023, approximately 2.3 million households use the Section 8 voucher programs. And that's so about almost 3 million households. Just in New York City, over 200,000 people receive Section 8 rental subsidies. However, in 2023, it's like just under 1 million, so 987,000 people in New York City alone live in some sort of subsidized housing. That's a lot of people, 987,000 people. Let's see, how many people live on Section 8? Just over 9 million people live in subsidized housing. That's large enough to support a small town in America. Section 8 people in the past 10 years. Yes, according to some data, it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number of people who have been on Section 8 for exactly 10 years. Because Section 8 is a continuous program, not a finite term. So what it means to tell me here is that because it's unlimited and it's cyclical, I think what the major problem has been happening, and people have been complaining about these subsidized programs for decades, is that people continue to live on them. Their children lives on them. Their children's children, their grandparents, their aunts, uncles, like the entire family starts living off of the Section 8 subsidized housing voucher system. And there is no stoppage point. And I think the Trump administration is doing something unprecedented that has never been done before. Now, I know a lot of people will argue the fact that, okay, what's going to happen after 2 years that some people are not able to secure housing outside of the Section 8 voucher system. There are so many, especially here in New York City, there are so many charities and organizations that can actually fill the gap. Transitional housing, the shelter system. It didn't say that it was going to do cuts to the shelter system. They just said to the subsidized housing voucher programs. It's already difficult in itself just to get subsidized housing here in New York City, even to find landlords that actually provide those services. So I am just looking at it like broad stroke is just going to continue to be very difficult. But one of the benefits, I think, of having a cap on these services is the fact that we don't want people to, we want to encourage able-bodied persons or people who do not have a disability to get into the workforce, because the more that we have, even at the quote unquote lowest level, we want to have enough people that are coming in to the workforce. They're contributing to society, blue collar jobs, as well as retail or any customer service or service jobs. Police force, we definitely need more people in law enforcement or any other sector. You know, we need a lot more people to be working. That will fuel the economy, right? We have more service jobs, especially they're opening up a new stadium, I believe, in Queens. They're probably they're gonna have another stadium proposal. We need more people to be working. And I think a lot of times people they're so used to having a system in place that like listen, we know this is known and trusted. What are we gonna do? Da, 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 my mother can't move. Da, 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 da. He said people without disabilities. So if you have disabilities, then yeah, you know, Social Security as well as the subsidized housing, that's going to be unchanged. But we need to have people up and working though. 9 out of 10, anybody who's watching my channel, they probably know somebody closest to them who has or had some sort of subsidized housing program, and they've been on it for years at a time. They bought furniture. They have their house just immaculate compared to you're living paycheck to paycheck. You have a higher salary and you are the one who is struggling. They are not, because everything is being subsidized by their federal and local government. And that's not fair. I think at some point these programs were meant to be a stepping stone for people. They were meant to be a stepping stone for people to get on their feet, get back to a normalcy, quote unquote, normalcy about their life, not used to be a forever crutch. I don't think it was intended to be that way. Unfortunately, there has been some bad actors over the years that has abused the system who are able-bodied and they've abused the system completely. And this is why we are in the state that we're in. In terms of wasteful spending, I can't say that it's wasteful spending, but according to, Google and AI, we don't even have the direct correlation of stats of people who've been on Section 8 for multiple years. I would imagine that if you peel the layers in the HUD, Housing Urban Development, and actually see the statistics, then we'll find out how many people who have been on Section 8 for multiple years, multiple decades at a time. So although this is going to cause temporary pain in the very beginning, the same thing with the tariffs. It's going to cause temporary pain. People are going to have a panic. Oh my God, I'm going to have to start working. I think 2 years is sufficient enough time for you to get back on your feet. If you're a motivated individual, 2 years is sufficient enough time for you to get back on your feet and try to do something about it. Now, for those who live in the inner cities and they live in the inner cities, the ghettos, the urban places where it's just extremely difficult financially for them to move out of those cities, okay, then you need to get to work. You got 2 years to figure this out. I'm pretty sure that you have a local church, you have local charity, especially the Catholic charities. You have local organizations, especially if you live anywhere in the New York City tri-state area. There's so many nonprofit organizations who do just that. They target homelessness. They target people who are in desperate need of any assistance. Definitely know that there are programs that exist to help people who are in that situation, who are in desperate need of housing, clothing, food, etc. New York has so many options. So I don't think that people have a valid complaint as to why they cannot get out of their situation. So my argument is not against Section 8. I think Section 8 is valid. I think it's very necessary for people, especially if you're starting off as a young adult, or you're, whatever your case is, you're a student, you don't quite have the, $2,000 monthly to pay on a rental just yet. 2 years is sufficient enough time for you to get your act together as well. If you're a single mom, you don't have to be young, but if you're a single mother of 4 or 5 kids and you're like, how the heck am I able to go back to work, find adequate housing for myself and my kids? Because I solely depended on Section 8 to take care of everything for me because I have 4 to 5 kids. Okay, in that kind of situation, we need to get you the help that you need. How old are these kids? Do we need to put them into some sort of daycare system? Do we have to have some sort of program where not only do we subsidize your housing, but there's so many avenues. I mean, we can go down the list. I'm not trying to say that it's going to be perfect. I'm not even trying to say a job will solve all your problems, because there's also the mental health component of things too. Psychologically, even though people can physically work, psychologically, there are a lot of barriers for people who are dealing with all sorts of, not just addictions, but all sorts of PTSD, chronic depression, anxiety, you name a list. Women here in America are one of the highest users of SSRIs and antidepressants, according to data. I completely understand, there's so many different components to certain things. The job market is a job market. There's a number of different avenues that you can choose. There's the easy route, the easy jobs or whatever. And then there's the hard jobs where you actually need certifications. You need certifications. You need a degree. You need experience, etc., etc. There's service jobs where you don't need any of those. We talked about them on this channel incessantly, the Lyft drives, the Amazon delivery, what else? Dog walking, for example. You don't really need a skill. You just need to love dogs, right? Working as a physical therapy assistant or a dental assistant. There's so many different things that you can potentially do. Or I forgot what it's called. I think it's a paraeducator. So it's a paraeducator is like a teaching assistant, so to speak. So there are different things that people can do to subsidize their lifestyle, what they want to continue to live, etc., etc. There's no excuse. You got, and the Trump administration is announcing it now, and that's a 2026 budget cut. So once it launches and goes into effect in 2026, then the clock starts in 2 years. So technically speaking, think about it right now. If anybody who's watching this who is in Section 8 or any type of subsidized housing, think in your mind, I have 3 years to get my stuff together. And maybe this is an opportunity for you to think about home ownership. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to, you know what, I may not have any. One good thing about people who are in these subsidized housing, they may or may not have the best credit. But 3 years gives you enough time to build your credit. It gives you enough time to generate enough income. Because guess what? You can still have HUD housing. You can still apply for some sort of housing that's not rental assistance programs. Just think about that. Where you don't have to necessarily put a down payment down, but you need to have some money saved up for a mortgage. Maybe it's cheaper for you to go that route as well. Maybe it's a good time for you to move to another state where it's a lot more affordable. If you do have kids, and if you can't have the means to do it, why not move to another state where it's a lot cheaper, that you can get a rental, and your kids will be in a proper school district, and you'll have a happier life. You don't have to worry about any crime or anything else that may be affecting you. So there's a host of options for people. Yeah, this is one change that I can get behind, because this is promoting more indirectly it's promoting more home ownership, and it's promoting people to think about the future. Yes, there are some people who are going to be lazy and going to feel like, well, why are you taking this away from me? I was comfortable living on this for multiple years. Why all of a sudden you just want to snatch it away from me? And they'll have that bad taste in their mouth regarding it. And I understand that, because not everybody is so willing to change. But there are some people, and there are some really great people who are on Section 8 and only on Section 8 for a short while until they get back on their feet. And so for those people, I would suggest, like, this is definitely an avenue for you, and it's an opportunity. Use it. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you hopefully very soon. I am going on another trip after this. I'm going out to Honduras at the end of this week, so to do more real estate activities. So I will have more to share. Yeah, I'll have more to share in the next couple of days. I'm going to assume that there's going to be more information to share with you. So until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one.